ever feel like to even get a handle on job applications these days, you need like a whole other degree. It's
Right.
wild out there. But thankfully, it seems like there are new tools popping up all the time trying to help us make sense of it all. That's why today we are diving into a platform that's promising to be our job search sidekick, RoleCatcher.
Yeah, they claim to be a one-stop shop for everything job search related, from snagging the perfect job posting to, get this, prepping for those weird curveball questions they throw at you in an interview.
And we are not just taking their word for it. Oh, no. We are going straight to the source, digging into 3 pages from RoleCatcher.com.
Think of this deep dive as your cheat sheet to see if RoleCatcher lives up to all the hype.
Okay, so one thing that really jumped out at me looking at these pages is their emphasis on AI
Yeah, it's everywhere, right?
everywhere, which honestly makes me a little skeptical. AI can sometimes feel like a buzzword companies throw around.
Totally.
So I'm curious to see how RoleCatcher is actually using AI to make our lives, actually easier.
Well, let's kick things off with a feature that tries to solve a problem I think we can all relate to, trying to remember where you saw a job posting. RoleCatcher has this thing called RoleCatcher.capture.
Okay, that's a mouthful.
It is.
But I am intrigued. Tell me more.
So picture this. You're scrolling through LinkedIn, maybe even, that other job site we all love to hate.
Oh, you know the one.
And bam! You see a listing that just grabs your attention, but then you're like, oh, I'll save that for later.
And it's gone. Lost to the abyss.
Exactly. So instead of frantically bookmarking or emailing the link to yourself, we've all been there, RoleCatcher. Capture lets you save it with just one click.
Okay, so it's like those pin it buttons, but for jobs.
Basically.
That's honestly kind of genius.
Right.
No more lost opportunities because you forgot if you were on Monster or
Right.
Indeed or wherever.
Exactly.
Okay, but what happens next? I mean, it can't just be a glorified bookmarking tool.
Oh, absolutely not. This is where their central dashboard comes in. Think of it as your job search war room. You can organize applications, research companies, even do interview prep, all in one place.
Okay, color me intrigued. But can we talk about resumes for a sec?
Hit me.
Because for me, even with a good system, tailoring my resume for every single application, it's the worst.
The actual worst.
So do they address that at all?
They do. That's where AI comes in again, and it gets interesting. So you upload different versions of your resume. Maybe one highlights your management skills and another really dives into your technical experience. Their AI then compares your different versions to the specific job descriptions you're interested in.
So no more agonizing over which version is best overall. The AI is like pre-screening you for each application.
Yeah, and it's not just matching keywords, which is what I thought at first. The site says it actually identifies the skills and experience that are most important for each specific role,
Interesting.
which we all know can vary wildly even within the same field.
That's huge because knowing what to highlight for each application, game changer. But even with a stellar resume, there's still the interview process.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's what makes me the most nervous, by far.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking. But you're in luck, because RoleCatcher seems to have thrown everything they have at interview prep. And it's not just generic, dress well, make eye contact advice.
Oh, thank goodness, because I've mastered that part.
Yeah.
So what do they offer that's actually helpful?
Remember that AI we talked about?
Yeah.
They use it to power a database of practice interview questions. Over 120,000 of them, according to their site. But here's the real kicker. They're tailored to specific roles and experience levels.
So an entry-level marketing assistant is going to get different questions than a seasoned marketing director.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But is it just reading through a list? Because I think I need a little more than that to calm my interview jitters.
This is where it gets really cool. They actually encourage you to record your answers.
Oh.
And get this, their AI gives you feedback on your delivery.
Wait, hold on. So it's like having a virtual career coach there analyzing your every
Pretty much.
that's both amazing and terrifying.
Right.
I can definitely see how that would be helpful, though, especially for someone who, gets nervous in interviews.
Absolutely. And the website really emphasizes that this isn't about making you sound like some perfectly polished robot. It's more about helping you identify your natural speaking style and then make sure you are communicating clearly and confidently. They even mention feedback on your body language.
Okay, see, now that is something I could definitely use some help with.
Yeah.
I tend to talk with my hands a lot, the whole thing. But this is already so much more than just another job board. It's like having a whole career coaching team at your fingertips.
Right.
So let's get down to brass tacks here. They keep mentioning this very specific career path as like an example, something about envelope making.
Yeah. And that's actually a perfect example of how these features we've been talking about actually play out in a real-world scenario.
Okay, so tell me more about this whole envelope making thing, because I gotta be honest, it's not exactly the first career that pops into most people's minds.
And that is exactly why we are going to dig into it.
Okay, so envelope making. It's not exactly software development or like AI prompt engineering or any of the other hot jobs everyone's talking about these
It's
days.
just exactly what makes it so interesting.
Okay, I'll bite. What's the story? Why envelope making?
Well, it proves that RoleCatcher isn't just for, tech jobs or those super trendy industries. They've got resources for basically every career path under the sun.
Even ones I didn't know existed.
Especially those, maybe.
Okay, that's pretty cool, actually. But how? Walk me through it. Like, let's say I'm listening to this and I think, envelope making. Maybe that's my calling. What can RoleCatcher tell me about it beyond, licking and stamping?
Well, first of all, get ready to be surprised because their career guide, Envelope Maker, is surprisingly comprehensive.
Oh,
Yeah, we're talking salary expectations, different types of employers, like do you want to work for a small business or a giant company? They even get into the pros and cons of starting your own envelope business.
wait, hold up. You're saying I could be an envelope entrepreneur. I am now picturing a whole, like, indie craft fair situation. Hand-stamped, artisanal, is that a real career path they're suggesting?
They mention it, and honestly, I kind of love that. But it actually illustrates a really key point about RoleCatcher. It's not just about finding a job, it's about helping you find the best possible version of that job for you. So let's say you're interested in envelope making. They help you figure out what that actually means.
Because there are, like, levels to it.
Right. Maybe you thrive in a super high-tech factory setting, or maybe you're more of a small design firm kind of person. RoleCatcher can help you figure that out.
So it's like they help you actually picture yourself in the role.
Exactly, instead of just like throwing a bunch of random job postings at you. But let's talk about the skills for a sec, because I'm guessing even envelope making has gotten pretty high tech.
Yeah, no kidding.
This is where that job spec analysis feature we talked about earlier comes in. Let's say you're looking at an envelope maker job description. It might say something like proficient in precision machinery operation, familiarity with quality control procedures, maybe even experience with design software if it's a custom gig.
Okay, so potentially not your grandma's arts and crafts project after all.
Ah.
So how does RoleCatcher help someone bridge that skills gap? Like, what if I'm great at graphic design, but I've never stepped foot in a factory?
That's where the AI resume matching really shines, because it's not just checking boxes, it's understanding the nuances. So let's say, like you said, you have graphic design experience. RoleCatcher might recommend specific courses or training programs that would help you level up in, say, manufacturing or engineering.
So it's like having a personalized career counselor saying, hey, you're great at this, but you know what would make you even better. That's actually really cool and definitely less intimidating than trying to navigate all those online course platforms by myself.
Right. And it all ties back to this theme we keep seeing with RoleCatcher. It's all about empowering you to be proactive in your job search. It's not just about reacting to whatever's out there. It's about figuring out what you want and then going after it.
Okay, you've officially sold me on the envelope making career guide. But let's zoom out a bit. We've talked a lot about individual features, but what's the big picture here? What's the overall impact of using a platform like this?
I'd say it boils down to efficiency.
Okay, I like the sound of that.
And I don't just mean saving time, although that's definitely a huge part of it. It's more about like focusing your energy where it matters most. So instead of endlessly tweaking your resume and hoping for the best, RoleCatcher guides you toward the opportunities where you actually have the best chance of success.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. It's like the difference between just, casting a wide net and hoping for the best
Yeah.
and actually like surgically targeting the right opportunities for you.
Exactly.
But I guess it's not even just about landing any job, is it? It's about finding the right fit.
100%. The job where you actually want to like wake up and go to work every day.
And that is something I think a lot of people, myself included, could definitely use some help with.
Totally. And that's where RoleCatcher's whole data-driven approach is so powerful because, again, it's not just matching keywords, it's using AI to understand the nuance of different roles and then how your unique skills and experience actually fit into that bigger picture.
And how my personality fits into that too.
Even that.
Which is honestly the dream, right? To not just have a job, but to actually be excited about the work you're doing.
Totally. And speaking of dreams, I think we need to talk about the most interesting thing about RoleCatcher. Its potential to completely change how we think about the job search process.
Okay, now you've really got my attention.
Yeah.
Flipping the script, huh? And you mean like beyond everything we've already talked about?
Right. So think about how we usually do things. You spend hours polishing your resume, you're on all the job boards, you basically cross your fingers and hope your application doesn't get lost in the void.
It's brutal out there.
It really is. And the worst part is, you're kind of at the mercy of whoever happens to be hiring that week instead of being able to be more strategic and going after, your dream role.
100%. It feels very reactive, like you said.
Exactly. But RoleCatcher seems to be hinting at a totally different approach. Remember that database of employers they keep mentioning? The one with over 9 million companies?
Yeah, it sounds massive.
Well, it turns out it's not just for us job seekers.
Oh, what do employers do with it?
So imagine this. A hiring manager is looking for someone with your exact skills and experience. But instead of hoping you stumble across their listing on, like, the 10th page of Indeed, they can use RoleCatcher to actively search for candidates.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying they have a whole searchable database of potential hires?
They do.
So I could get discovered based on my skills and experience, even if I haven't applied to that specific company.
Exactly. Think of it like the ultimate version of LinkedIn.
Oh, wow. Okay, so instead of just networking and hoping someone notices you, it's employers directly seeking out the best fit for their needs. That's a little intense, though, isn't it? Like, what if you're not looking for a new job?
That's the thing. They make it very clear on the site that it's all opt-in. You
Right.
control who sees your profile and how much information you want to share.
Okay, that's reassuring. Knowing my resume isn't just like floating out there for everyone to see is definitely a plus, but the potential here is huge. This could really change how we think about power dynamics in the job search process.
No kidding. It's not about who you know or like how well you play the application game. It's about your skills speaking for themselves and employers recognizing your value without you having to jump through a million hoops.
Suddenly, that 9 million employer database makes a whole lot more sense. It's not just about finding open positions. It's about connecting with the companies who are actually looking for someone just like you.
And I think that brings us back to the heart of what we've learned about RoleCatcher. It's not just another tool. It's like having a partner in your career journey.
Totally. From personal insights to streamlining those tedious applications and maybe even like putting you on the radar of your dream company, it's pretty impressive.
It really seems like they've thought of everything.
I'll be honest, I was a little skeptical at the beginning of this deep dive. Yeah. But after taking a closer look at their website, I gotta say, RoleCatcher seems like the real deal. It's not just a job board. It's more like, I don't know, a career empowerment platform.
Yes, that's a great way to put it.
So if you're out there feeling lost in the job search wilderness, RoleCatcher might be just the compass you've been waiting for. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive, but we will leave you with this. What if, instead of chasing after opportunities, you could be discovered? RoleCatcher says it's possible. Until next time.